welcome you all back to the social class. We are dealing with the history chapter, Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. In that we are seeing the module 3.1 after February Revolution, what happened in Russia. If you see about Russia during the February Revolution itself, it has undergone so much of struggle. So after this February Revolution, you can find the army officials, the land owners and industrialists, they started involving themselves in the provincial government. Okay, so they wanted to have a lot of importance for the elected representatives. Similarly, liberals as well as the socialists, they were also giving importance for the elected government. Okay, so that is how the track was being changing for Russia. And along with that, you can also see that the people who are being giving lot of importance for the elected representatives, in that you can find they have got some kind of relaxations or freedom, like they can assemble in a common places, they can gather and have public meetings. So those restrictions which has been laid on the areas like gathering in a common place or having a meeting or an association was banned previously in Russia. But now the restrictions were being removed, and similarly how the pedagogy society was formed, like that you can find everywhere they had started having the pedagogy society which was existing. Okay, so this was happening in Russia, and during that time in 1914 you can find they started having World War and other aspects. That time you can find in April 1914 Bolsheviks leader Vladimir Lenin is coming back from the exile. Exile means he is being sent to the other across his own country to be in prison. Okay, so after completing his own prison duration, he is coming back to his own native Russia. Okay, so when he is coming back, he felt that it is the time has come for the socialists to take over, the radicals to get into the administrative activity. So as the war was going on and it was bringing a lot of impact on the social aspects of the peoples, so he felt that it is the time for the people like the Lenin to come into the ruling aspects. Okay, so he felt like that, and you can also see that this Lenin was really a socialist who really worked hard. Okay, so you can see about Lenin. So this Lenin, he is really a person who wanted to bring a change in the society. So what he is doing is that he is demanding, he is put forth in his own demands of 3 demands. First, the demand is to bring down the war. Okay, so to put an close or end to the war. That is the first demand of him. Second demand is that transfer of land to the peasants. He wanted the land to be transferred to the peasants. And the next thing is about the bank to be nationalized. So these 3 things he has been giving in the form of a demand, as it is called as the April thesis. It is called as April thesis, which has been brought into the common people's views in front of the higher authority in the form of a demand. Okay, so he is demanding that, and in few places where he was been demanding, and his own members who belongs to the radical, he is bringing this as a radical's aim. Radicals means, as I told you already, people who think differently. So he is bringing these demands as a radical aims to be achieved. Okay, so few people who were being there in the radicals group itself got surprised by his own activity, that is Lenin's activity, and they felt that the time has not yet come for the Lenin, because the time, the reaping time, will see, reaping time means the flower, the fruit which is there, which has to reap. Reap means it has to become a fruit. Okay, so it will be raw before. Okay, so when it has to reap, at that time when it is reaping only, it will be good. So the other supporters of the radical group felt that the time has not come for him. Since the scenario has been in this situation, the time has not yet come, but Lenin did not give up. He started his own struggle. He wanted a revolution to happen. So he wanted the provincial government to make a change. Subsequently, the development should happen. Okay, so he wanted this thing to happen in the society. And also you can, so in the other side you can find that in summer the workers struggle was being formed, workers committee, workers movement was being spreading. Okay, and along with that you can also find that industrial workers were also there, no? So industrial workers and the factory workers committee was formed, soldier committee was formed. There were so many committees which are being formed in Russia. Okay, so these committees, when they were being formed, even trade unions were being formed. Trade unions grow in numbers, large numbers. Soldiers committees were being formed, and around June you can find around 500 committees were being existing. And you can find during that time the provincial government has lost its own importance, and the radicals, these people who have been there, no, that is the All Russian Congress. So Lenin has described that his party should be, Lenin party should be renamed as the All Russian Congress Party. So the All Russian Congress Party wanted to take up the role of administration during that time. So what happened, there was lot of struggle which was happening, and when they were trying to take up, there will be a lot of problem. The provincial government sent its own army troop to arrest the leaders of the All Russian Congress Party. So when this was happening in one corner, you can find Bolsheviks in 1970, they started demonstrating and they were being opposing, they were showing their own opposition in the form of a demonstration. And few other leaders who belong to Bolsheviks has hidden themselves in some other places, and few flew away. Flew means they just want to get escaped from this situation and they are moving out of this situation. This was happening. In the other side of the land side, you can find that the peasants started forming their own land committee. So they started demanding their own land committee, and they wanted it to be redistributed. The land to be redistributed to the peasants. So on the countryside, peasants of the socialist revolution was being led, and the redistribution of land is being needed by them. So the land committee formed, no, that has made them to distribute the land and give it in the hands of the peasants, and that was being encouraged by the social revolutionists also. And the peasants started seizing the lands between July to September. They started seizing. Seizing means taking into their control. Okay, seizing means it will be under their control permanently. So that is how they took into the control of them. So if you see, we will go into a quick recap of it. So if you see in history, socialism in Russia and Russian revolution which we are seeing. Okay, so in that we will see about the third module, 3.1 module, after French Revolution, what and all happened. So the army officials as well as the landowners, industrialists, all are forming their own provincial government. So when they are forming their own provincial government, it is the others, the socialists, radicals as well as the liberals have been demanding for the elected form of a government. And during that time you can also see that there is an relaxation which is being given to the common peoples, like public gatherings and meetings can be held. So relaxation, restrictions on the gatherings and public meetings were being taken away. And the Soviet pedagogy Soviet was existing, right? So that was being made probably for everyone to have the pedagogic Soviet. Okay, so like liberal aspects which was being given to them. And in April 1914, you can find the Bolsheviks leader Lenin is coming back from the exile. So when he is coming back from exile, he feels that the condition of Russia is going worse in condition towards the war. It has to be ended. So what he decides that he is deciding to have a demand which will be given in the provincial government. That is, the three demand is to bring an end to the war. The next thing is to have a bank to be nationalized and the land has to be transferred. So these are the demands which he is having. Okay, so So when this demands, he is going ahead with his own parties, where he is giving these demand as a name of April thesis. Okay, and along with this, he is also renaming his Bolsheviks party as the All Russian Congress Party. Okay, so he is deciding this and he is been going on with this, but his own supporters, his own radical groups, they felt that it is not the time for him to become the ruler. The time of reaping has not yet come. So that is what is the verdict given by them. And he's been, the three demands, he is giving that as a radical aim to be achieved. So that kind of description he is giving. And the social revolutionists and the provincial government are seeking for its own importance during that time. And when this was happening in one side, you can find in the worker side, the movement started spreading and large amount of committees and unions were being formed. A trade union was being formed, soldiers union was being formed, army union was being formed. Like that, they started forming their own unions, and where they started seeking for the difference of the factory work and the industrial work. So this scenario, when it was created, there was a lot of struggle which was happening among the workers and the publics. So the provincial government lost its own importance over there. So that time, Bolsheviks leader Lenin felt his time to come to the ruling aspects. So when he is trying to do that, the provincial government became alarmed. They have got into idea that this is the Lenin's issue to bring to a ruling aspect. So what they are deciding, that they are sending an army force to control or suppress that struggle. When they are trying to suppress that struggle, can find many leaders who belong to Bolsheviks, they are moving away. They are leaving that place and moving away, and some are getting hidden somewhere. Okay, that few of them are leaving the country and moving to the other places is happening. And you see about the land committee. Land committee was also formed, which was being supported by the social revolutionists, and it was encouraged by them, where because of which the lands were being taken by the peasants. Land transfer to the peasants happened, and the peasants started seizing the land from July to September 1970. So this is about the after February, what happened in Russia. Okay, my dear students, the remaining we'll see in the next class. Thank you, my dear students.